We start off in 2008 when a small indie company named Treyarch was working on a little-known game called Call of Duty World at War. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, during development of the multiplayer and campaign, the developers worked on a side project during their downtime. Eventually, the higher-ups found this, everyone loved it, and they just threw it into the game. Enter Nacht der Untoten, the first ever zombies map. You get points for every zombie shot and more for a kill. I'm sure the system will never change. We also got shotguns, treasure chests, doors, cabinets, explosions, and that's it. Survive as long as you can, die, repeat. Sadly, there is no golden ray gun or Hitler boss fight on round 100. Then we got Verrucht, where everything from Nacht returned, and now the box teleports away from you, you degenerate gambler. We also have a shocking number of new traps. And you can get a not-so-refreshing drink of Quick Revive, which revives quickly, don't buy it on solo, Double Tap, which shoots quickly, Speed Cola, which reloads quickly, and Juggernog, which dies slowly. But you can't get these until you turn on the new Power Switch, something that will become a staple of almost every Zombies map going forward. At Shinonuba, the power switch was removed. Instead, perks will appear randomly when opening different doors on the map. This wasn't very popular, so we likely won't see it again. Oh, and the traps are no longer just electric. You can trebuchet zombies into the air and ride a gondola for fun. But now players were getting bored of the faceless Marines, so we got characters. A flamboyant, crazy German doctor, a drunk Russian, a Japanese samurai, and an American hero. Really getting all the stereotypes into one game. The flamboyant German created the Wunderwaffe, zombies' first wonder weapon. It makes it possible to reach round 1000, and I'm sure no other German scientists were killed because of this invention. Players at this time also learned the power of running in circles instead of just standing still until you die. Just don't ask anyone what it was called in 2008. Next up is Doris, where the community collectively thought, this game mode might end up being pretty great. The power switch is back, we unlocked fast travel, self-deleting distraction monkeys can be found in the box, and because radios exist, our characters have backstory, which is pretty cool. But it was tired of being abused, so the Wunderwaffe now takes away your jug, which is pretty lame. Luckily though, your normal guns will work past round 10 now since we got the Pack-a-Punch. Place in any weapon and it'll come out stronger than Mike Tyson after a bout of steroids. Enter Black Ops 1, because 2 years later Treyarch thought, hey, that zombies mode made us a lot of money, so they did it again. We have Kino, originally planned to be the 4th World at War DLC, which is just Doris plus one of the most popular wonder weapons of all time, and some fire traps. This also marks the start of the Great War between the M14 enjoyers and the incorrect side. Finally, the ray gun is back, along with some zombies that appear stinky, submissive, and breedable. Much like your mom. Daddy Treyarch also threw solo players a bone because Quick Revive now only costs 500 points and you can self-revive 3 times a game. I'm sure this system will never change. Also, gambling is easier with Fire Sale, making the box a happy hour with 10-point spins. We've also got the Death Machine, but it's not good yet, so we'll move on. Oh, did I mention you can belly flop now? At the same time all this was happening, Zombies got political with 5, introducing the series' first buildable, take note because those will become very important later, and our first terrible wonder weapon. We abandoned the main crew for the likes of this guy, and this other guy, and Robert McNamara, who was an Air Force vet born in San Francisco, California in 1968 and served as Secretary of Defense at the height of the Cold War, playing a key role in getting the US involved in the Vietnam War, so the most important one by far. These unlikely allies will eventually die at the Pentagon while jamming out to Red Phone Eminem, but not before they meet Yuri, a cracked out scientist who's advocating for gun control. If you use those guns to put him down, you'll see the new Bonfire Sale, which makes Pack-a-Punch affordable for the average family, making the tally middle class 1 and the 1% infinity. Dead Ops Arcade then happened, and Treyarch took us to Russia for the largest zombies map to date. Here you'll find a spinning dildo, a rocket that is likely made by Boeing, and reskin teleporters. Inside of the box you'll find the returning Thunder Gun, since everyone loved it, and 2 new grenades. These are the Russian dolls that do a decent damage explosion, and the highly complex machine that creates black holes that suck in zombies from the entire area so they can't come after you anymore, while killing all of the ones that touch it immediately. Anyway, these devices are great for dealing with the new dog round, thieving space monkeys. These grubby little guys come with the first mechanic that allows players to get every perk on the map, as unlikely as that might be. It's also the first time you can lose perks in a way that's not going down. Fun! We also have 2 new perks, the fan favorite PhD Flopper, and one of the best perks of all time, Stamina Up. And capping it all off, we got the first ever full Easter egg, and man, it surely was an Easter egg of all time. You even get a 90-second useless death machine instead of a 60-second one. Oh, what's that in the distance? Just one of the best maps of all time. Here we got introduced to the concept of celebrity crews, and celebrity zombies with the not-so-gentle giant Georgie. We also got Deadshot, which was useless, the Flinger, which was cool but useless, the VR-11, which was useless on solo. But thankfully, this is the first time Papa 3-Arc introduced 2 wonder weapons at the same time, letting the fan favorite Scavenger save the day. We even get a 3rd one for committing second-degree murder. Pack-a-Punch here decides to pull a teddy bear for the first time and play hide-and-seek around the map, but the lighthouse comes in with the assist, and we get 2 zip lines to help navigate such a massive map. But I hope you didn't miss our main crew, because they're still locked behind a door. And this is the first Easter egg that can be completed solo. A wonderful quality of life change that I'm sure we'll not need to wait 8 maps to see again. And we get confirmation that Dempsey is packing heat.
Perhaps this will turn on the light. No! let go. That's not a lever, Richtofen.
All of this then takes us to a jungle paradise, where we get a new, better kind of thieving monkey, allowing for more free perks and easy max ammos, but be careful where you walk, since a new type of hazard is introduced with the pressure-activated traps and mud. And we get female zombies for the first time, which is kinda cool. It's weird that it hasn't happened yet. Outside of that, we get the former Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers' favorite gun, the baby maker, and that baby making gets loud and explosive with the introduction of two new types of zombies, the napalm and shrieker zombies.
Shrieker? I barely know.
We conclude Black Ops 1 not in Paris, but on Moon, the favorite map of every kid who did not get to go to space camp but really wanted to. This is the first time we get a unique starting mechanic, where if you're good, you can get Pack, Punch, and Jug on round 1, but I know most of you cowards just getting your 2,500 points and running your ass at that teleporter. This Moon base naturally comes with the first anti-gravity mechanic in the series, which honestly felt like a bigger deal than it really was at the time, and a lack of air on most of the map. On top of all of that, we get a new perk that everyone's been asking for since Verrucht, but no one actually uses, Mule Kick. The lack of air is dealt with the PES, but the biggest innovation came with the Hacker, which lets you get easy max ammos, open doors for free, and just be an all-around elite script kitty. You'll probably want to keep it close and save those points though, since you see the first enemy that directly takes perks from you via damage, the Astronaut. Gerst devices also come back, this time alongside the QED, or as most people know them, the random bullshit device, once again making a clear choice for any sane player. Also the clear choice for a loadout is the first dual-function wonder weapon, the Wave and Zap guns. These can either be a quick one-pump chump gun when separated, or a hardcore sprayer when combined. But all that is unimportant, since the absolute biggest innovation on this map is the fact that we get our first sight of Samantha Says, the most reused Easter egg step in the franchise. To end it all off, we blow up the Earth, which sets up Black Ops 2. That's not really a relevant innovation for the video, but it's pretty cool, so I brought it up. Now with hype at an all-time high, a couple of years later, Black Ops 2 was released with the biggest zombies map ever. It was so big, in fact, that it got split into 3 separate survival maps. The first time we've seen this, and the first ever bonus zombies mode, Turned, referencing the direction you face from your friends when he asks you to play it. And since walking is too much work on transit, we get Ted, and the bus to go between them. Originally there was plans for a second bus route, but instead we got a Nacht der Untoten cameo. This map's size graph was parallel to the Disappointment. Both are with the features that people generally liked. Galvan Knuckles are pretty cool, and the bank plus fridge marked the first time we got progression to save between games. Oh, and Double Tap 2.0 is pretty goated. Now I'm going to attempt to talk about all the features people disliked in one breath. Lava stops you from running, cracked out toddlers stop you from running, zombies explode, the new perk didn't exist on solo, making it the first time that a perk was ever player locked, the jet gun is the first buildable wonder weapon, but it breaks after 5 seconds, the new buildable parts were capped at 1 at a time, and we got the shield, but it sucked. Okay. Since our main crew is currently on a Paris vacation, we get our first new crew that isn't a one-off. They take part in the first ever dual Easter egg, which is a controversial trend of the Black Ops 2 maps. Speaking of controversial, Nuketown was added into the mode for the first time as a 4th survival map and brought back Shino Numa's random perk system, this time based on round instead of doors. Then we go to Die Rise, which is DLC 1. This fantastic arena, fuck you fight me, is the one and only vertically inclined zombies map. Buildable wonder weapons return alongside the bank, and we get Black Ops 2's first bonus round, which is just the reskin Nova 6 on crack cocaine. The new trample steam is the first movement-based buildable, and the Sliquifier is the first time Treyarch ever nerfed a zombies weapon. This unpopular decision surely won't ever happen again, right? To end off this masterpiece of a map, we got Who's Who, a perk you either hate or love, that lets you revive yourself and keep all your perks. Jimmy Zielinski was starting to get— I forgot to talk about perma perks again. In tandem with the bank and fridge, this is a game-to-game progression that gives you power-ups for doing basic tasks that we still don't fully understand. Okay, where was I? Jimmy Zielinski was starting to get kicked out of the Cool Kids table for making 2 unpopular maps. So Football Chad Jason Blundell took over for Mob of the Dead, the first map with a layout taken almost entirely from a real-life building. Here, for the first time since Kino, we lose the quick revive 3-down system, instead getting access to the Afterlife system, where you become a spooky little ghost and power up the map instead of hitting a switch. As you adventure around turning everything on, you'll be able to pop your electric cherry and collect skulls for a gun. This is the first side quest for a weapon, and the first weapon upgrade that isn't a simple pack-a-punch, because you can build it into the Acid Gyat. I can't believe I just said that. After feeding Fido, you get the first quest equipment with the Hell's Retriever and Redeemer. Okay, so now it gets a bit confusing because we go back to Jimmy for his final map as the zombies lead, and he went out with a banger. Buried has the first non-enemy NPC, who also happens to have a drinking problem, which is still your points, but if you keep them you can get Vulture's Aid, which is the last map exclusive perk to this date. The now series staple Mark II makes his triumphant entrance, and we can unlock time travel powers for the first and only time. And if you're feeling real spicy, you can do the franchise's first super Easter egg, which is just some dialogue. Then Origins happened. We get a new old crew, giant robots, mud, and American Samantha. This is the first map we see the Panzer sold at, and since Blundell is a no man left behind kind of guy, we get 4 wonder weapons on the map to deal with it. Nice. Solo players are also no longer considered low class. We can do the Easter eggs now. But you won't be doing this one alone, trust me. Instead, you'll focus on digging up holes and even more gambling. That's because this is the Wonder Fizz. It'll give you a random perk, even PhD, and I'm sure Treyarch will never change how this works. But none of that matters, since the entire zombie storyline is just a kid's game. Who would have thought? Ah, wait, never mind, that's just another universe. Blundell is fully in charge now, and his first move was adding Satanism and hentai into the game in the form of enemies inside of the new boss fights, environment, and wonder weapons. We also got swords. Maybe Blundell was a weeb all along. Widow's Wine was also introduced for players who need another Juggernog, and micro-transaction gumballs, baby. I'm sure these will not get more greedy later on. Also, why can't this Easter egg be done solo? Not to scare away the World at War players with change, Reese also came back to coddle us to sleep when we get scared of innovation. Anyway, now we have the bows, which are the stabs but different, and the Panzer's back, and we're killing our old crew apparently. This is Horizon. It's basically Origins, but less tedious and you can fly. And these rockets were probably not built by Boeing since they managed to make it to the moon. Okay, time to kill Takeo. Back to Japan, where Zetsubo has small spiders, big spiders, human spiders, and spider webs. The Slukifier returns but in a Halloween costume, and we get to play with a skull. And if you're getting tired of zombies, you can play Farming Simulator instead. Now on to Garage Crow V, where Treyarch attempted to get the Dungeons & Dragons player base bricked up by adding dragons. And it probably worked. You even get to carry a little one with you around and crash your game if you use it too much. Players can get passive upgrades for the first time, unlocking wings to skip the unskippable dragon cutscene, since it does get old after the second time. And again, to keep the older player base from getting too scared, the ray gun comes back in Mark III form to make sure they feel comfortable and safe. Time for Revelations, when Treyarch didn't want to make a new map, so they just threw everything from older maps together and called it good. And nothing much new here, but you can wear hats to give you upgrades, which is kinda neat. We kill the Shadow Man, again, go back to Origins, and that concludes the zombie storyline. Fans surely won't get upset about this, and money will force Treyarch to continue it, right? So in Black Ops 4 we go back to the same old storyline, but we also don't. Where we start off with a Mob of the Dead and 5 remake, and if you don't cry at this cutscene, you don't have a soul. If you manage to see this cutscene, you sold your soul. Black Ops 4's biggest changes were making the Gobblegum system worse and calling it elixirs. Players start with not 3 but 4 hits, Jug gets removed, and you start with a specialist. Plus you choose your perk loadout like multiplayer before starting a game. Basically the game got much easier with time. Much like a desperate frat dude. Now we go into the new story Treyarch tried to give us but never finished. Shameless plug, click on this video if you want to see what happens there. 9 gives us more traps, buff angry men, tigers to kill, and the ability to make a scorpion squirt for us. Then in Voyage we play on the Titanic, where we shoot planets instead of doing anything relating to an iceberg. Besides the Kraken, which is lamer than it sounds, nothing is new that isn't in the other maps since all 4 launched at the same time. Here comes Dead of the Night, where Blundell channeled his inner Twilight and centered a map around vampires and werewolves. This is the most Easter egg heavy map of all time, and there's probably still more we never found. Go look for them. Chaos is now concluded with the best BO4 map where we get to ride a Pegasus and kill God. But we all know why you play this map. It's for that one Easter egg step and this scene, you absolute gooner. Back to even more remasters. Alpha Omega has a new ray gun type, the returning Avocado from Transit, and Ted is back. Our crew also learns the true meaning of patriotism with the AI. This all ends on Nacht der Toten, a map Treyarch didn't even fully make. We get the Thundergun cameo, a Wonderwaff variant, and a challenge system foreshadowing Cold War. Then, the real reason to play this map, snowball fights. The whole story ends with a murder-suicide by Nikolai, after he takes out the older crew and the universes. But then he can't do it himself, so he makes a small child kill him. Now, I'm sure fans won't get really upset about this and force Treyarch to use the same characters next game and lose the Chaos story. So in Cold War, we play as, well, anyone you want, because there's absolutely no set crew. But the story has Samantha Maxis all grown up and working to contain the Dark Aether, but you can't play as her unless you fork over the cash for marriage. The teddy bear's gone, now we have Mr. Peaks. We still don't really know what he is. Guns are now rainbow colored, Jug is back but with armor plates, and the Wonder Fizz is no longer random. And then Treyarch, in an attempt to make the game easier for new players, gave us infinite self-revives and score streaks. Then, since choosing was hard, the perk limit is now gone, and you can start with any gun you want. There's a new perk with Elemental Pop, which is just double Pack-a-Punch variants, and that same Pack-a-Punch now has 3 levels of increased power, so you can get a maxed out gun just in time to beat the map. Okay, Firebase C. We got a new gun, lockdowns, jump scares, and Samantha's back from the Dark Aether. Alright, time for a new game mode. Outbreak is here. COD Zombies on a Warzone map with objectives instead of rounds. Half the community loved this, and half thought it was the first sign of the Rapture. Go back to round-based zombies, we get another military-based map, Mule Kick came back, a Rabbit Wraith, and ends with Forsaken. Because I like how the community felt about this game as a whole. Not much new happened here besides a Burger Town cameo. That's it. Vanguard happened, but that's barely Treyarch, and it's barely round-based, so that's a problem for a different video. See ya. Oh yeah, and subscribe.